What's up, everybody? Hope everybody is doing well. We are here for our weekly romance oracle and tarot reading. As you can see, I've got my power back on. It finally was restored yesterday morning. And I had been staying at my sister's at night for the last 2 nights and popping over during the day to just check on things. And finally, yesterday, I was able to come home. So I've been now in the phase of trying to restore order, where there has been chaos and extension cords and dirt. And I've been in deep cleaning mode in the house, and I had just almost gotten it just perfect and pristine, and then all this, isn't that how it always goes? So yeah, so now I'm just trying to restore order. Very, very tired. But I did not want to miss another video. The last couple of nights I did even still want to do a video, even though I was uprooted, but I was so tired after work that I just couldn't even stay up to eat, and I just went to sleep every night. I was just really hit a wall. So we're here. We're back. We're looking at the week ahead to see what we should do with our energy and our intention and our consciousness where it pertains to our love lives. And we have the getting to know each other card. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your love bond deepens. So this piggybacks on our themes from last week to have heart-to-heart, honest conversations. And I think that extends to the relationships in our lives that are not romantic also, because then we are practicing those principles and putting that vibration into the air, right? We're restoring the way that we relate to others on a ground, foundational level, which will extend to all the branches of our different categories of relationships, whether that be, family, intimate friends, your surrounding acquaintances and maybe coworkers and what have you. But when we work on our ability to have relationship, to have relational intelligence, to have emotional intelligence, and to have a healthy relationship with ourself and our God, then that just prepares the ground for successful, fruitful relationships in any of the categories of our life. So this week, it's we're going into a little bit of a next phase of that. It's getting to know one another. So, put yourself, open yourself up to, getting to know people, maybe putting a little bit of effort into conversation and learning how to be inquisitive without being an interviewer, right? Instead of just firing off questions at someone in an exhausting way, learning the art of building conversation by probing deeper into whatever the person, whatever you're engaged in talking about, how they feel about a subject, or, well, I'm interested to hear your thoughts, or, wow, what was that like for you? Or why do you like this particular thing? Oh, how interesting that you do that. What do you love about what you do? It's learning how to have, go deeper in ways of getting to know someone that isn't just, firing off questions that feel like an interview, that just, it feels like one of those questionnaires, right? And I think that maybe in the first date stage or back and forths and, messaging, it just can be, it can get really boring because it just turns into this really predictive, formulaic, thing. So take it out of that box and, go deeper and be more authentic and really get to know people and let people get to know you a little bit. All right. Let's see. Here we go. Ooh, pay attention to red flags. It's when I saw this card out of the corner of my eye before we started getting into the reading, I thought it was the red flags card. And I think that it's important to take your time and really getting to know someone and not projecting what you hope they are or what you think they are or what they seem like or what they seem like, plus what you hope they are. Like really, like take the time to get to know someone so you know who they really are. I mean, look at all the things coming out about people in the world right now. And, you know, that's very sinister, but even down to, you know, I mean, like how you think someone is going to be in a relationship versus what they're really like in a relationship, or what you think they want or might want with you once they get to know you versus what they really want in reality, regardless of whether or not they got to know you. So I think it's important that we take the time to get to know someone, but get to know someone authentically. Like, as we are being our authentic selves and being our honest self, it's like we have to then perceive that person honestly. Look at who they really are. Don't project on them what they're not. It's not fair to them, but it's also not fair to you. So many times we kind of like jump to the assumption or conclusion that someone was dishonest with us and misleading, when really they were kind of their true self from the start. They just continued to engage with us, but we were not honest with ourselves about who they were and who they were showing us that they were all along. So again, when we're getting to know someone, be an honest listener. Be an honest receiver and observer, right? And we can do that without attachment or judgment, you know, but we need to start disengaging. We need to start recognizing our projections and then disengaging from them. Everything on my body is tired, including my eyeballs. Like, it's hard to even focus. Okay, so this could be the one. All right, so you've already met the romantic partner that you seek. So as you are realistically and honestly assessing possible suitors, that's gender neutral options, and you are honest about those that aren't aligned, or that wouldn't be right, or that wouldn't be a good fit, or that aren't compatible, versus, you know, okay, so maybe there could be better options that you're recognizing now at a new level in your life. And so now you're like, okay, this could be the one. I don't want to fall into my old pitfalls and keep perpetuating my same patterns again and again and again. So this time it's like, okay, be taking conscious steps and being aware of the self without being self-conscious, but like not falling into negative, destructive, self-sabotaging patterns that could, you know, spoil something, you know, that could otherwise be really fruitful and successful. So this could be the one. You may have already met this romantic partner that you seek, or it could be very soon. And so just being and also being honest and paying attention to red flags could save you from accidentally getting caught up with the wrong person right before the right person shows up. Because in my experience, almost every time I met or I started a relationship, I would meet like a cluster of people or a couple of people or a cluster of people. And then in the midst of that cluster of people, there would be a couple of people that I would like the most. And then it's like somehow I would choose one, but feel like maybe looking back on hindsight, like I should have chose the other, like I should have held out a bit longer and went with the other option, and wondered how that would have played out, you know, instead. So yeah, I think that in hindsight though, I think what would have solved that mystery or given me greater chances of making a more informed choice, just be slow down, get to know someone for real. Like this could be the one, or it could be a red flag that I need to heed to keep my options open, because the right one is soon coming, right? The more we hone in to like embodying our new self that we are, like think about yourself a few months ago, think about yourself over the last few years. Everything has been in flux. There's been so much change, but also so much growth, so much healing, so much evolution. And so you are a new person, and you may not reflexively know your own self yet because you're becoming a new self. And so you get to consciously co-create that now. And that takes time to go slow and reevaluate your romantic inclinations, because you've got to say, okay, is this a reflexive attraction pattern that I have that was something that I have muscle memory from a former version of myself, or is this really fresh and current with my new self? I'm reborn, right? Do I have a type anymore? Am I rediscovering a new type? But I think that we're clearer on those core pillar things that we want to be in alignment. That way we're growing on a trajectory together with certain things that we have core compatibility. I would suggest, there are certain things that, yes, people are going to challenge you and you're not going to be exactly the same as a person. But hopefully you have aligning beliefs that would help. In my experience, for me, everyone's going to be different and unique, right? But for me, some of the core pillars that I need aligned are beliefs. I need us to be aligned with how we handle and own our money together and separate, and maybe a little bit of both. Just compatibility as far as tastes, the day in and day out. There are things that matter to me a lot that would be deal breakers or maybe non-negotiables that wouldn't matter to someone else. But I think that each person needs to have their clarity around the difference between, for them, what are their deal breakers and what are their non-negotiables, what are their preferences, and what are things that they could compromise on, right? Because part of growth is that you make room for other people, and their uniqueness and their rough edges, as well as the fact that they're going to have to make room for your uniqueness and your rough edges, right? So it's give and take, but there are, I think, certain foundational things that you need to know about yourself so that you can make an intelligent, an emotionally and spiritually intelligent choice for a life partner for you. Knowing that, there is some of it has to do with the creator playing in, but I don't think that we should take a passive role in that and not be decisive, because we are here to be human beings that are making proactive decisions and choices. It's our free will, right? Keep an open mind. So going back to, instead of going into this rigid, cookie cutter that you had laid out for your identity before, we have a new self-image and a new self-understanding and a new, identity forming. It's almost like we had this incident that caused amnesia, right? And we kind of wipe the slate clean and we can become a new creature. And so it's keeping an open mind. Maybe, certain things would interest you that didn't before. Maybe certain things that you were attracted to before are red flags now for you. You're oh no, that's a dead giveaway for a bad situation, right? Whereas before you were enticed by, things. But when you heal your wounds, you don't have the same dysfunctions anymore. You don't have the attractions for, say, unavailable people or people who devalue you, or, we all have different things. We don't have, we could go on for days on, our dysfunction, but we don't have to keep that on and keep carrying that on. And it's a matter of taking our time and having the discipline to examine our reflexes and probe ourselves, and keep an open mind for maybe people that we would find interesting and attractive now that we may not have before. Okay, let's get a little bit more clarity on getting to know each other. Choose your battles. So so Seven of Wands is a card that talks about being able to overcome your patterns, your challenges in life. And as that relates to others, it's like we have to choose, okay, as we're getting to know someone, or like say, put yourself in the relationship, right? When the relationship is new, love covers a lot, right? But as the relationship gets into like its comfort zone and starts to grow in its age and it gets long in the tooth, you start to have little critical, like little foxes that spoil the vine. Things about that person start to add up, and you have criticisms that add up, and little things that grow and fester, and gripes, and you don't appreciate them the same way that you used to. Now, I've been in relationships where both, like, on both sides of that. Like, I was in a relationship for several years where there was like this renewed appreciation for the person, and for the most part there weren't a lot of those gripes added up. Like, I found I really admired that person, and because of that we just kept the relationship fresh, and it was a very healthy relationship in all aspects until it disintegrated in the end. And there of course were obviously things that weren't healthy, but as far as just being in love with a person and having that romance alive throughout the relationship till the bitter end, it didn't fade. And I think it's because there weren't a lot of, there wasn't a critical eye there. There wasn't an evil eye or a harsh eye or an eye of judgment there on that person. So I think that when we lose appreciation for our partner and we don't see their good aspects and we're only seeing what bothers us about them, then it's like we start to leak our energy in the relationship, and we start to throw we don't lose our attraction. We're like kind of throwing our attraction away. So proactively appreciating that person, and also too, once we get to that stage where we've built all this up inside, you don't realize, but you just kind of you get bickery, you get naggy, you start to fight all these fights with people. And then this too can extend to a lot of our different social circles and relationships and people right now, just with everything that is going on. It's just, and if we're like around people that, are at various stages of being able to accept the reality of the situation, it's like you might feel like you're being, constantly in these weird, like, conversations that create strain. And so it's like you have to pick which hills you're dying on, regardless of what relationship you're dealing with right now. Sort of, being a peacemaker is proactive, and it's difficult, and it requires confrontation and conversation, but there needs to be consciousness and reason and proactivity around that. Whereas peacekeepers are avoiders. They sweep things under the rug, and that's where things fester and become problems. So this is like getting to know people, choosing which things you confront and when, pacing those out, not addressing everything all at once. But then as you get to know someone, confront the reality of that person and choose what challenges are going to be worth overcoming, because every relationship is going to come with some form of challenge. We need some to grow and grow with the person. But I think that we need to be conscious in choosing which battles we can fight with someone along, if they want to fight that with us, if we're fighting for the relationship and not against one another, right? But there are probably certain difficulties that you would not really want to deal with a person, that would not be a battle you would choose to fight. And that would be good to be realistic with in the getting to know each other phase, because then you're not going to put more energy into people or more emotion into people for more or longer than you need to, if you need to make a judgment to just cut it and move on. And that sounds, easy in theory, but it's not when you have a little chemistry with someone and you're kind of attracted, right? But you can see that there are core compatibility issues and that are going to be issues down the road. And it's like being wise about what battles you are willing to fight in life, because you want someone who's like going to be fighting along your side in life with you. There are going to be financial hills to overcome, health and wellness issues to overcome, spiritual battles of relational, highs and lows together when you grow with someone over years and decades. And so you don't want someone where the battle is, it's a fight to stay together. Right? You want to be able to stay together easily, and you're like taking on the storms of life as a team, right? So taking the time to get to know someone realistically will tell you if you are going to be fighting them or if they are going to be a teammate. Pay attention to red flags, reaching out. So again, it's like we are like, the Three of Pentacles is people seeing your value and wanting to work with you. So in a relationship sense, from a romantic perspective and from any perspective, we have to pay attention to red flags before we get involved with people, right? I think we're seeing that too on the world stage of the people can look so different on the outside when they first present themselves, right? And so even down to just like meeting a person in the dating world and seeing them on their best behavior for 6 months, but seeing a little hints of who they might really be down the line, right? It's like paying attention to those things early. I should have done that myself. There were people that I was with for years that I should have left within the first year because they showed those little cracks leaked early on, and I should have realized before I built a life with this person, before I, went into business with them and, and was in a romantic relationship and had a home, together and, all of that. It's like taking the time to see who a person is and realizing in advance whether or not you want to build a life with that person. Are they going to be good to build with? Or are they going to be, are you going to be carrying all the weight? Or are they going to be even worse, a liability, right? Okay, this could be the one. And that again underscores that idea that there could be like I don't really like the twin flame thing, but there are good archetypal vocabulary, I guess, words that I could pull from it. And there is a thing like a false twin flame. And the false twin flame is like a decoy relationship that appears to be like the right person, but they're not the right person. But they have all of the trappings of seeming like they would be the one, but it's like there's something a bit off, and it's like a test from the universe to see, okay, this is so close, but not quite. Are you going to settle for something that's not quite right? Or are you going to keep trusting and believing that the real person is coming? So I don't like twin flame. Don't really believe that is the right perspective to approach relationship. I think it's like something that the new age people have created and clung to and then exploited commercially, but neither here nor there. So, but there are soulmate relationships, but it's just that we understand those, I think, on a reductive, overly simplified level too. But we've talked about this on the channel, but I don't want to digress into that conversation right now. So there could be, again, like something similar, like a decoy person that the opponent could throw in your way as a distraction, as a shiny object, where you're like, oh, is this the person? And like a part of you is like, yeah, they're probably not. But you're like, well, it's really close, and it's like going to the store hungry, right? So that final test before you get that right person. Be careful, because that might be happening soon. So take it slow as you get to know people, because the one, this could be the one, could be around the corner. So let's grab a card on this could be the one. Gets that back card. Okay. Ooh, darkest fears. So 9 of Swords. So I think that because we're letting our fears and our lack and our anxiety keep us up at night over, is this the one? Is it not the one? Is the one coming? That when we are in a fearful state of lack or scarcity, then we make reactive decisions seeded from that lack. And so it's like when you are feeling lonely and depressed and a little scared in the world right now, or desperate, and you reach out to a person to get attention. It's like you're doing something from a seed level that already starts with an open trap for the devil to be at play. So you kind of open the door at a foundational level from that seed level of lack that you were reactive from, that you took that action from, for chaos to take root, and then sow just not good fruit. However, when you can pause and restrict when you're in that consciousness and see, okay, life has been hard lately. I am tired. I am wanting to get energy from somewhere, but this is me being in lack and in taking consciousness. So I'm not sovereign, and I'm not in a state of wholeness right now. So this is a dangerous time to act, because I'm going to attract something that is going to be destructive. And depending on my willpower, once you dip your toe into that nice, comfortable love heroin, can you withdraw back into the icy cold, desolate tundra of being single for a long time and having someone almost so close, but not quite, right? So this is a time where we are in that dark moment where we don't have a guarantee, and we're like, is there anyone in sight? And this is where we have to weather the storm, because this is the darkest moment before the dawn. We have to be loyal and faithful to ourselves first, and be true to our soul's awareness that there is a match that is equally yoked for us, that we deserve. And we have to hold out a little bit longer, believing that that's there, even though there's going to be some dangly temptation, possibly, or the temptation to want to reach out and grab something that's not right or that's not for us, out of hunger or starvation or lack. So the test might be to say no to a shiny object. The test might be to say no to the self, to don't reach out to something that's not meant for you just for comfort and attention. Because if you can hold out a little longer, falling prey to that reactive behavior could cost you another several weeks or months of romantic purgatory and waiting period to go through another test. So hold on with all your might right now to be in integrity and alignment with what your heart and soul knows to be true. Okay, keep an open mind. Where is this? I feel like it's this card on the bottom. Ooh, balance. Temperance card. So again, like what we're saying, it's not that you're looking for your exact match or even your opposite. You're looking for something, a person who complements you, stretches you, grows you, maybe fills in the gaps a little bit, and can contract or contrast you, challenge you, confront what needs to be confronted, So it's like these different parts that are integrated together to be harmonious, right? Like very hot boiling water and added to cold water, giving you the perfect temperature of a comfortable bath, right? So keep an open mind with the temperance card. Balance card means, okay, first of all, don't be hypercritical of your partner if they have some things that are opposite of you that you don't really like get. Like if they like to spend their free time or their spare time in ways that you don't necessarily like approve of or think are good or productive or like highbrow ways to spend your time, that's their free time and that's the way they recharge, right? So unless it's harmful or disgusting or despicable behavior, which don't get involved with somebody like that, red flag, right? But this is your average person who, just doing their thing. We have to accept people, and what they like, what brings them joy, give them space to be themselves, right? And so accepting people's uniqueness and their differences, in ways, and because you want someone to also accept you and your differences and your uniquenesses and what maybe where you're lacking, you don't want someone to be hyper strict or rigid of you. And so, extending that understanding to them and acceptance, whilst also being a good catalyst for growth and personal and development for one another as well. So, a good balance, keep an open mind, like, you don't necessarily have to be exactly alike or have every single thing in common. This person might be outside of your, sorry to go back, not to walk away over that concept too quickly. Like you can have, a rich circle of people around you that provide people to explore your interests with. Right? If you've got different people that are into different things, and that gives you a lot of variety in your life. So there's not, so much pressure on one person to deliver so much to you, right? You be realistic about what you want from a romantic partner. Like, some people don't want necessarily their romantic partner to be their best friend and their confidant and all that stuff. They have different relationship styles, but if you're the kind of person that wants that, you're not going to be very happy with someone who wants tons of independence and their own time and their own autonomy, and they're not wanting to spend a lot of time with you, right? So, but open-minded in that you may have been a very outgoing and social person who had a very active, high energy social life before, and so you might have wanted someone who was highly adventurous and high octane like that, but maybe you're settling into a more calm, quieter period of your life, and you're starting to become more attracted to people who are doing things that are more, comforting and give you a feeling of security, right? So again, just re-examining your next level, your new self, and being more open to finding out that you might be attracted to someone and that might surprise you, or that you might be compatible with someone that you may initially have judged to be probably not somebody that you would go out with, or that you assume that would be compatible. Maybe they would be, right? But it's good to be realistic and honest as you get to know someone, being not judgmental, not dismissing them, but also not projecting more on them than what is true. All right. I think that's all for tonight. I am excited about settling in and having a cozy evening, watching a Kabbalah class, eating some good stuff, and just resting. I will see y'all tomorrow for our weekend reflection message. So until then, peace be with you. And, I'm excited to see what's happening this week in the love department. Ciao.